That's all that matters. Am I in focus? I'm out of breath and I just sat down. Let's talk about it. Let's just be here in the moment together, guys. I don't know why y'all are far. Let's shut up. Anyway, I haven't made a talking video in a while. I've never made a video like this one. But I'm gonna talk my shit. Let me talk my, you know what I'm saying? I'm on a spiritual journey or a self-discovery, self-love journey, whatever you want to call it, for the past minute. Or you say like or like I've finally woken up. Like I've been asleep, and I just finally woke up. It's like I've been stuck in a cocoon or something. And there's like, I've been watching all these videos, trying to get more like educated, finding guidance and whatnot, and I realized there comes a time in like our story and our storyline where we eventually wake up. Like we have these things that happen and we think they mean more, but because we're so domesticated in how we've been raised and whatnot, we push it away or we ignore it. But like there comes a time in people that are different in their lives where they wake up, like Indigo, Rainbow, or Crystal Children. But I've been taking in all this knowledge. I've been connecting with people more deeply, spiritually, authentically, and I started reading this book. You know, I'm looking for a change. I'm looking for something to wake me up, something that like it makes sense to how I'm feeling right now. So I started this book called Mastery of Life, right? Came out years ago. Long time ago. It's called Mastery of Life, and it mentions that humans are the only like animals that domesticate themselves. And we domesticate ourselves with like how we were raised, like our old thought patterns, like this is right and this is wrong. Like even just culturally, like this is right, this is wrong. But to be free of this domestication, we have to unlearn those behaviors. We have to detach ourselves from what we once knew as right or wrong, or you know what once drove and how we once thought, basically. And I'm like, that totally makes sense to me, because once you run into these situations with people, friendships, anything like that, where there comes a point where you're butting heads, and a lot of arguments we start with people is because they're not following, like they're not doing what we want them to do, basically. Like they're doing what they do, and to us, because we are domesticated in how we were raised and learned, is wrong, right? And so you're like, you're not doing something that I would do, or you're like, you know what I mean? And you try to domesticate others, and it pushes them away. And when you find yourself doing that a lot, it brings a lot of frictions in your relationships, and you start to isolate yourself or feel like everyone's the problem or you're the problem. And it's not that either party is a problem, it's just you need to stop, you need to detach, you need to let go of that stuff, let it go. we subconsciously are trying to control others to fit in this narrative that we have, and that's just not how that works, because people are their own beings, and they have their own thoughts and their own version of what's right and what's wrong. And this book has lessons, so that was kind of the first lesson. Like, you're here. It starts with like, imagine you're in a room and everyone at the party is drunk, and you were the only one sober, but they think you were one of them. They think you were also drunk, but like you're the only one awake. That's like the first lesson, and it mentions being in those type of situations, there's detachment and trying to control, and later you like doing that kind of stuff. You follow paths that aren't the paths that you wanted for yourself, but it's what you think should be followed, and all that good stuff. But the second lesson goes into detachment and attachment. So when you're really attached to something, and you approach it in a way that's not with unconditional love, basically, it controls you, and it can control you in a negative way more than in a positive way. So, like, you're not loving your friend unconditionally if they do this one thing, and it's wrong to you, and so you get upset, and you have this whole blow up, and because you're trying to control them, you're trying to detain them, basically. And there's this video I watched a few months ago, I'll link it, where the whole video is about detaching yourself from things and situations, right? And when people hear detachment, I think they think of something like a negative connotation, like no longer caring, in a sense. In a way, but not like stop caring about the person, stop caring about their thoughts and opinions, but stop letting it control you. Loving someone unconditionally isn't controlling them. Loving something unconditionally isn't trying to have control of it. It doesn't have this control over your life that affects you so drastically if something doesn't go your way. And there's this quote she mentions frequently in the video when she reflects, and it's by Pluto. There's two things a person should never be angry at. They can help and what they cannot. And at first I literally paused the video and I read the words because I'm a visual learner. There's two things in this world that a person should never be angry at. What they can help and what they cannot. You see what I'm saying? So detaching myself from what I knew was right or wrong, in a sense, has lessened my anxiety, lessened my, I guess, anger, stress, frustration, and almost detaching from the need of having control of others in situations outside of myself. And a lot of people do that because they don't feel like they have control within themselves. But once you gotta put in the work, you gotta meditate, you gotta, do what you gotta do, but then you won't feel the need to also control everything else outside of your being to make up for what we are lacking, basically. And so I sit back and I think about these situations where I've gotten arguments with people, and I'm like, that's not how that works. You're not supposed to do it that way, or why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, logically, why would you, or I would never do this, blah, 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 or who raised you type of stuff. You have to, when those things happen, you have to stop in the moment before you even respond. And, this is what you have to remember. When you find those moments where you're wanting to control something outside of yourself, where you're wanting to domesticate somebody to fit your narrative, right? And something happened recently that made me go back to that, why would they do that? I wonder, why would you, the sense in lying. I don't find any sense in lying, being portrayed as a liar, lying to protect what you think is protecting people's feelings, blah, blah, blah. Something like that, along the lines of that, happened, and it upset me. And then I remembered something that my friend said the other day, which I thought was funny. I think I've been out of focus this whole time. Is, your dog is smart for a dog. Which sounds stupid. And it's kind of well, yeah. It's just funny. Because I was thinking about that. Your dog is smart for a dog. Right? You can't get mad at a dog for being a dog. I want to reflect back on what I said at the beginning of the video, how there comes a point in someone's story in their journey where they wake up. If you're an indigo child, a crystal child, a rainbow child. And I have to remember, like, it's a lot of people's first time being here. Like, not everyone has been here before, not everyone has lived a life before, this life, or it's their first time here. You know what I'm saying? So, why have these expectations or be shocked at these things when they're like, they've never experienced life before? If someone, all they've known is to protect themselves, is to lie, or to, you know, do certain behaviors to deflect from what's really happening. It's top behavior. It's domesticated behavior. It's their first time in this world. It's their first time living this life that they have right now. And that is all they know. And you're trying to control that. Their response to something. Their interactions with you. Trying to control something outside of yourself. And it brings you frustration, and you think, no one understands me, I'm the only blah blah, or like, why is everybody else? You have to remember, you cannot be mad at a dog for being a dog, because that is all they know.
Put my page on public and I know that they watching. Yeah, ops, what up? Post on my location.